Xiao Yan watched the people stepping forward to challenge the checkpoint, only to end up returning in failure to the back of the platform. His eyes became slightly solemn as a result. The difficulty of this sound array seemed to be even more difficult than he had expected. Among the challengers earlier, there were also some people who knew sonic wave Dao techniques. However, the sonic wave that they had unleashed not only failed to allow them to successfully charge through the checkpoint, but had instead ended up being shaken by the mouse-tied sonic wave. They spat out a mouthful of blood and flew back after the two sound waves collided. Although they had failed, one person had traveled the furthest among those who had attempted. If his sonic wave Dao technique had been able to withstand the sonic wave emitted from so many gold-swallowing mouse, it was likely that he would have really successfully charged through. While the challenge continuing, the people who participated increased. The time they managed to endure while facing the sound array became longer. This caused quite a number of people to feel somewhat excited. After all, even if they were not the ones who charged through, they were at least able to feel some hope. Xiao Yan's hand involuntarily fondled his chin after another person was defeated. The strength of this person was around that of a 7-star Du Huang or so, which was similar to Xiao Yan's earlier strength. However, this person was still forced back by the sonic wave, while he was still around 100 meters from the top of the mountain. Another wave of sighs sounded from the platform when they saw this person fail. Immediately, a colorful figure slowly stepped forward. Being one of the focus points on the platform, the actions of Miss Feng naturally attracted the attention of everyone present. Quite a number of people immediately focused. With the strength of this woman, she was considered a top existence among everyone present. If even she was unable to break through this sound array, it was likely that hardly anyone could successfully pass through it. Xun'er's lazy face revealed an interested expression when he saw Miss Feng walking out. He had heard a little about here. By being able to become the most likely successor of a faction like the Wind Lightning Pavilion, it was likely that no one would believe that she did not have some ability. Xun'er was very interested about her performance today. Xun'er from the Wind Lightning Pavilion greets Xun'er elder. Teacher has told me to represent him and send his greetings before I leave. The colorfully clothed lady walked to the front of the rock stairs and smiled as she spoke to Xun'er. Xun'er smiled faintly when he heard this. He said, "Help me thank Lei Zunjia for his concern. I will head to the Wind Lightning Pavilion to meet him if there is a chance in the future." Is Xun'er her name? Lei Zunjia? Ugh, indeed. It is really impossible for the Wind Lightning Pavilion to possess such a position in the Central Plains if they did not possess a Du Zun. Xiao Yan sighed in his heart and muttered softly to himself after hearing the short conversation between Xun'er and Xun'er. Xun'er had a polite chat in front of the rock stairs before she ceased speaking. Her pretty eyes turned to the rock stairs that led to the mountaintop, after which she glanced at the densely packed gold-swallowing mice around. A solemnness also surfaced on her face. A bright silver glow swiftly surged out from her body before it immediately wrapped around her. "Begin." Xun'er waved his hand and said after seeing the silver glow appear on Xun'er's body. Bang! His voice had just sounded when Xun'er's lovely body suddenly shook. She immediately transformed into a silver line that shot toward the top of the mountain with frightening speed. From the looks of it, it seemed that she was planning to obtain victory using her speed. However, it must be said that this lady's speed was indeed shockingly fast. Even Xiao Yan's eyes revealed some surprise. This lady was indeed not a simple person. Screech, 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 screech. Sharp sonic waves transformed into ripples that spread out swiftly at this instant. When the sonic wave made contact with Xun'er's body, her body slightly trembled. Suddenly, her speed soared, and a couple of afterimages appeared in the sky. These afterimages immediately crumbled under the spreading sonic wave. This frightening speed caused quite a number of people on the platform to let out an exclamation. Looking from their angle, it seemed that even the sonic wave had difficulty catching up with Xun'er. All it could do was closely follow behind and shatter the afterimages that appeared one after another. Xun'er narrowed his eyes as he looked at the figure that had transformed into a thunderbolt. He involuntarily nodded. This woman's speed was indeed frightening. It was likely that she had already practiced the Wind Lightning Pavilion's 3,000 lightning movement to the highest level. Chi! A rushing wind sound appeared on the distant end of the rock stairs. Immediately, Xun'er's lovely body leaped up and steadily landed on a rock. She looked down on everyone standing at the middle of the mountains from above. At this moment, a breeze blew past and her long hair drifted in it. She possessed the noble aura of a queen. Xun'er has successfully passed the checkpoint. Xun'er withdrew his eyes. His calm voice finally contained a little fluctuation. This woman was someone whom even the most outstanding person among the younger generation in their gold-swallowing mouse tribe could not compare with. This Wind Lightning Pavilion did have a successor. Xun'er was the first to successfully pass the checkpoint. This had caused the people on the platform to turn into an uproar. This was especially the case for Tang Ying, Wang Chun, and Mu Qingluan. Being the members of the four pavilions, they naturally did not wish to lose to the former in such a place. Xiao Yan also smiled as he looked at the commotion of the place. His gaze looked at the distant mountaintop and coincidentally met with that of Xun'er. The provoking look in the other party's eyes was completely absorbed in his sight. Just follow me. I will lead you through it. Adieu. Xiao Yan turned his head and smiled at Nalan Yanran. He did not wait for her to reply when he turned around and walked toward the rock stairs. Nalan Yanran was startled when she saw the skinny back. She immediately grit her teeth and swiftly followed. Since Xiao Yan had opened his mouth, she should accompany him to give it a try, even if she were to fail in the end. She possessed an unknown confidence in the former. Xiao Yan brought Nalan Yanran and walked toward the front of the platform. At this moment, Tang Ying had also coincidentally walked out from the crowd. His gaze glanced at Xun'er at the end of the rock stairs, before turning his head to Xun'er. He cupped his hands together and said, 10,000 Sword Pavilion disciple Tang Ying greets Elder Xun'er. Xun'er nodded his head slightly. His gaze swept over Tang Ying. The other party's sword aura caused him to slightly nod his head. These four pavilions really lived up to their reputation. The disciples they groomed were all people with great abilities. With such a perfect method to groom new blood, it was little wonder that they were able to possess such a position in the Central Plains. Tang Ying slapped the large blue-colored sword on his back after the greeting. It emitted a clang sound as it automatically flew out. Finally, the sword was suspended in front of Tang Ying. A sharp sword aura permeated out, causing quite a number of people to feel a chill. At the same time, Tang Ying's toes pressed on the ground and his body gently landed on the sword. A surprised glint flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes as he looked at Tang Ying, who stood on his sword. With his eyesight, Xiao Yan was naturally able to discover some energy shooting out of Tang Ying's fingers and feet. This energy adhered to the sword, providing the large sword with the energy to float in the air. This is the royal sword technique of the 10,000 Sword Pavilion. It is rumored that if one practices it to the highest level, one will be able to control the sword with one's heart, as well as move with the sword. One's flying speed will also be extremely quick. This can be considered a unique technique of the 10,000 Sword Pavilion. Nalan Yanran softly explained to Xiao Yan. She had gained a slight understanding of these large factions during these few years that she had been in the Central Plains. It is indeed quite mysterious. Xiao Yan nodded. Experts were indeed as numerous as the clouds in the Central Plains. It was extremely rare to see such a mysterious Dao skill in other places. Tang Ying's body slowly rose up, while Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanlan were conversing. When he was around 30 to 40 feet from the ground, he gradually came to a stop. His gaze stared intently at the densely packed gold-swallowing mice on both sides of the rock stairs and narrowed his eyes. An instant later, he swung his robe and the long sword under his feet, emitted achi sound, and rushed forward like a meteorite. His body transformed into a blue sword figure that rushed toward the top of the mountain. Screech, screech, screech. The sword figure had just charged into the region of the rock stairs when an ear-piercing sound that came from all directions was transmitted toward him. Under this kind of sonic wave attack, even one's soul would end up intensely trembling. If one did not have a powerful defensive skill, it was likely that one's soul would end up suffering quite a serious injury. However, Tang Ying's expression still remained cold in the face of the powerful sonic wave attack. A sharp sword aura surged out of his body, appearing just like a blue-colored sword lotus, which wrapped around his entire body. The sonic wave formed an intense ripple when it collided with it. However, this did not stop Tang Ying. In front of the envious eyes of many on the platform, Tang Ying forcefully broke through the many sonic waves within less than 3 minutes. With a flash of his body, he charged to the top of the mountain and slowly landed on it. His breathing was a little hurried, but his eyes contained a rare excitement. Although only a short amount of time had passed earlier, the danger that it involved was not any less than a big battle between experts of the same level. Success. Xun'er nodded slightly and announced after seeing Tang Ying successfully charge to the top of the mountain. Next. A yellow figure immediately rushed out upon hearing this. Finally, he got out of the crowd ahead of Xiao Yan. He cupped his hands toward Xun'er and said, "Wang Chen from the Yellow Spring Pavilion." Wang Chen suddenly turned his head around after saying this. He looked at Xiao Yan, who was a short distance behind, and a cold smile surfaced on his face. Xiao Yan completely ignored this. A slight smile still hung on his face. Wang Chen did not procrastinate. He swiftly turned his body and his gaze landed on the two people at the top of the mountain. With a laugh, a dark black ink-like dew chi swiftly surged out of his body, after which it wrapped him up like a black ball. His feet stomped on the ground and the black ball used the most brutal method to rush forward with achi sound. That sonic wave attack once again surged over when Wang Chen entered the area around the rock stairs. However, Wang Chen relied on his powerful Dao Qi to forcefully withstand the sonic wave. His footsteps appeared as though he was flying as he covered a distance of over 100 feet. In the blink of an eye, he was already close to the mountaintop. Quite a number of people emitted an exclamation when they saw that this fellow had chosen to use such a method. They immediately sighed quietly. This fellow's Dou Qi was indeed vast and strong. He was able to forcefully charge through this sound array. Although it may appear somewhat clumsy, it was still a viable method. Ha-ha! The dark black ball once again shot forth. Finally, it flipped in the air and landed on top of the mountain with a loud laugh. Success! The corner of Xun'er's mouth was also lifted as he spoke when his gaze swept over the mountaintop. This fellow's Dao Qi was clearly much stronger when compared to ordinary experts at the peak of the Dao Huang class. Moreover, it was the rare darkness affinity Dou Qi. Otherwise, even if he could forcefully break through the sound array, he would definitely show signs of being greatly exhausted. However, from the looks of this person, it seemed that he had an easy time. This Yellow Spring Pavilion was indeed also worthy of being one of the 4 pavilions. Next, Xiao Yan did not anxiously appear after hearing the voice which escaped Xun'er's mouth. His gaze turned and saw a green-clothed young lady slowly walking over. Naturally, she was Mu Qing Luan from the Falling Star Pavilion. Falling Star Pavilion Mu Qing Luan greets Elder Xun'er. The young lady stood prettily and spoke to Xun'er with a sweet smile. Her face displayed a playful look. Xun'er's indifferent face finally revealed a smile when his eyes paused on Mu Qing Luan. He nodded his head and slowly said, "Miss Qing Luan's tongue is really becoming sweeter and sweeter. Back then, your clan asked you to become Feng Zunji's disciple. From the looks of it now, it seems that it was quite a good decision."
Feng Zunjie.
Xiao Yan, who was randomly shifting his eyes on the platform, suddenly stilled his eyes at this moment. After which, he slowly turned his head in a somewhat stiff manner. His gaze had some disbelief as it locked onto Mu Qing Luan. She was actually Feng Zunjie's disciple. Xiao Yan had the intention of searching for Yao Lao's extremely good friend, Feng Zunjie, when he headed to the Central Plains. However, he had not heard much news all this time. Now he was suddenly able to obtain some information regarding Feng Zunjie in this place. This Mu Qing Luan is a member of the Falling Star Pavilion. If Feng Zunjie is her teacher, then Feng Zunjie is likely someone from the Falling Star Pavilion. This thought swiftly swirled around Xiao Yan's heart. A wild joy also surged onto his face. He was finally able to obtain news about Feng Zunjie. If it was really as Yao Lao had said, he would be able to gain a great help and would no longer be alone. While these thoughts lingered in Xiao Yan's heart, Mu Qing Luan's legs had already stepped onto the rock stairs, after which she steadily climbed to the end of the rock stairs. When the sonic waves surged over from all directions, a clear bird chipping soft hum was emitted from Mu Qing Luan's small mouth. Under this soft hum, though sonic wave that surged over seemed to have met with a nemesis and swiftly scattered. In an instant, the tone within the entire sound array became chaotic. During this chaos, Mu Qing Luan climbed up leisurely. Around 10 minutes later, she ascended to the mountaintop. It seemed that she was the person who had the easiest time. Those sonic waves that could hurt a person's soul seemed to be completely useless against her. Quite a number of people became stunned when they saw Mu Qing Luan ascend the mountain so easily. No one expected that one could actually pass through this sound array in such a relaxed manner that did not consume any strength. Success. Next. Xun'er helplessly shook his head when he saw Mu Qing Luan easily reach the top of the mountain. He had forgotten that the sonic wave attack by the gold-swallowing mouse did not have much of an effect on Mu Qing Luan. This time around, she had managed to gain a huge advantage. Xiao Yan was also similarly stunned for quite a while because of how Mu Qing Luan had easily passed the checkpoint. A moment later, he finally let out a bitter laugh. His eyes swept around him. At this moment, there was still around 10 people, including Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanran, who had yet to take the challenge following the success of Feng Xun'er and the 3 others. There were only 4 spots left. Xiao Yan exhaled gently after seeing that no one had stepped forward. He turned his head, lifted his chin toward Nalan Yanran, and strode out in front of everyone's gazes. Behind him, Nalan Yanran hesitated for a moment before following. All the gazes present swiftly gathered on Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanran. The 4 people on the mountaintop also threw their gazes down with different feelings. One would likely identify Xiao Yan's strength through this sound array. This junior Xiao Yan greets elder Xun'er. Xiao Yan cupped his hands together and respectfully spoke. Xiao Yan? Xun'er's eyes narrowed slightly upon hearing this name. He had indeed heard of this young man whom even Fei Tian was unable to capture. It was unexpected that even he had come to this place. The sound array will strengthen following an increase in the number of people. Are you certain you wish to bring another person along? Xun'er's eyes glanced at Nalan Yanran and said, with his eyesight, he was naturally able to tell that her strength was insufficient to pass this sound array. Before Xiao Yan could reply, Nalan Yanran behind him began to hesitantly whisper, "Why don't you go up by yourself? Bringing me along is too much of a burden. Just follow me. Treat it as a gift to her." Xiao Yan shook his head and slowly walked to the rock stairs. Nalan Yanran looked at Xiao Yan's back. She gently bit her red lips as self-mockery appeared in her eyes. She immediately sighed, lifted her leg, and followed. Under everyone's gazes, Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanran slowly paused in front of the rock stairs. Quite a number of people's eyes revealed a curiosity. Many people really wished to know just whether this person who had created an uproar recently possessed a strength comparable to his reputation. Xiao Yan gently inhaled a breath of air in front of everyone. He stepped forward and gently landed on the rock stairs. After Xiao Yan's feet stepped onto the rock stairs, the densely packed gold-swallowing mice around the rock stairs immediately opened their eyes. The hair on their bodies stood erect as a powerful sonic wave suddenly appeared, causing the energy in this place to swiftly fluctuate. Nalan Yanran clenched her silver teeth after seeing Xiao Yan enter the rock stairs. She merely lifted her head and followed. Follow me! Xiao Yan's gaze stared intently at the gold-swallowing mice around the rock stairs. An instant later, his throat suddenly emitted a low roar. His feet stomped violently on the ground after his roar sounded, and he transformed into a light figure, which shot toward the mountaintop in a lightning-like manner. Behind him, Nalan Yanran also stimulated her Du Qi to its limit, and did her best to increase her speed while following close behind Xiao Yan. The people on the platform, as well as on the mountaintop, also swiftly threw their gazes over when they saw Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanran begin. Since the beginning, there had not been a precedent of people successfully passing the checkpoint in groups of 2 or more individuals. Everyone clearly understood that the strength of this so-called mouse-tied sound array was determined by the number of people in the group. Now that Xiao Yan was challenging this checkpoint in a group of 2, the sonic wave's strength would naturally be double its ordinary strength. Under such a sonic wave attack, it was likely that even Xun'er and the others would have some difficulty passing through it. Hence, many people did not have much confidence that Xiao Yan would be able to charge through the checkpoint this time around. If he was alone, he might still have a chance. However, now that he was bringing along a burden, the result: screech, screech, screech. After Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanran had charged forward by nearly 100 meters over the rock stairs, the ear-piercing sonic wave that was swiftly formed finally descended from the sky in an abrupt manner, appearing much like a storm. It entered through every single opening on Xiao Yan's and Nalan Yanran's bodies. Xiao Yan's and Nalan Yanran's bodies stiffened almost at the same time when the sonic wave arrived. However, Xiao Yan was in a much better state. By relying on the great strength of his Dao Qi, he was able to forcefully endure it. Although his speed had been reduced, he was ultimately able to withstand it. However, Nalan Yanran, the pretty face of Nalan Yanran behind him, turned slightly pale. Her speed was quickly reduced as the ear-piercing sonic wave caused her soul to feel waves of piercing pain. The Dao Qi within her body also began to become disorderly. Nalan Yanran tightly clenched her silver teeth. She looked at Xiao Yan's back not far away from her and forcefully endured the pain from her soul that drilled into her heart. The Du Qi in her body surged out without holding back, forming numerous defenses around her body as she tried her best to stop these sonic wave attacks. 2 figures hurriedly flashed up the long rock stairs. The sonic waves from all directions seemed to possess a real form as they permeated every inch of the space around the rock stairs. Each time Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanran advanced, they would exhaust a great amount of Dao Qi. Only then were they able to reach their destination. When they were observing earlier, it seemed that the entire journey would only take a short couple of minutes. It was unexpected that after personally giving it a try, they finally became aware just how troublesome and dangerous this thing actually was. Screech, 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 screech. Xiao Yan and Nalan Yanran finally charged through half of the distance of the rock stairs in front of everyone's gazes. However, Nalan Yanran's pretty face was extremely pale at this moment. Were it not for her perseverance, she would likely have found it difficult to endure to such an extent. It was a little too difficult for Nalan Yanran to break through this mouse-tied sound array with her current strength. Nalan Yanran's vision gradually became blurry. She looked at the figure in front of her, which appeared skinny. However, that figure was unusually stable amid the sonic wave. The corner of her mouth revealed a bitterness. She thought of the distant past when she used a haughty status to forcefully cancel the Xiao clan's engagement. At that time, she might have been young and spoiled, but she knew in her heart that the reason for her actions were partly related to Xiao Yan's reputation of being useless. At that time, she had been accepted into the Misty Cloud sect and appeared to have a limitless future in the eyes of many. Xiao Yan, on the other hand, was merely a useless young master from a small clan. The gap between the two was just like that between the heavens and earth. Her arrogance back then naturally had difficulty enduring such a gap. However, it was also because of this impulse of hers that gave her this limitless regret. All the things she was proud of were completely destroyed as this young man grew one step at a time. Even her greatest support, the Misty Cloud sect, was eventually forced to take that most miserable step under his cold and indifferent voice. Originally, she thought that she and this young man, who could not be removed from her memory, would become people from two separate worlds after she had left the Jiama Empire. However, she had not expected that the person who would step forward and rescue her when she met with danger would actually be him. In their encounter once again, his strength had truly surpassed her. Until now, her qualification to follow in his footsteps had also gradually disappeared. Nalan Yanran bit her lower lip tightly with the back of her teeth when she thought until this point. A thread of blood seeped out. Originally, the relationship between him and her had the chance to be able to reach the most intimate level. Unfortunately, some regret that remained deep within her heart spread out like a poisonous snake, causing the bitterness in the corner of Nalan Yanran's mouth to become denser. The dense do qi on the surface of her body also became thinner under the assault of the sonic wave. Grug, grug. At a certain instant, the do qi suddenly completely disappeared. Nalan Yanran's body suddenly stilled. Her pretty face was as white as snow. Immediately, she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her eyes swiftly turned dark, and her body appeared to have suffered a serious blow as it fell down like a kite with its string cut. "I'm sorry. I've already done my best." Nalan Yanran slowly shut her eyes after sensing the exhausted do qi within her body. A soft mutter sounded within her heart as she did so. Quite a number of people on the platform involuntarily shook their heads when they saw Nalan Yanran flying back after finally being unable to endure any longer. They involuntarily felt indignation toward Xiao Yan. He had brought such a beauty into the sound array, but was unable to give her any protection. This action was not like a man in the eyes of many people. Acting conceited, harming others and yourself. Xun'er shook her head gently on the mountaintop as she spoke with a faint, ridiculing voice. "This person is quite strong. He has yet to reveal his true ability." Tang Ying hesitated for a moment before slowly speaking. You really think too highly of this brat." Wang Chun curled his mouth and coldly laughed. "That might not be true. This person might be young, but even I cannot see through him. Moreover, he is able to escape from the hands of Fei Tian from the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion. Although he had the help of external strength, it is likely that no one will believe that he does not have some ability." Mu Qing Luan by the side covered her mouth and laughed with her lovely voice when she heard this. Bang! A muffled thunder sound suddenly resonated from the rock stairs while the four people were conversing. Immediately they saw Xiao Yan's body suddenly crumbled under the sonic waves. The next time he appeared, he was already behind Nalan Yanran. He extended his arm and held her narrow waist. "Huh? 3,000 lightning movement. It is really as the rumors say. This person has managed to learn the Wind Lightning Pavilion's 3,000 lightning movement from some unknown place. Looking at it now, this is indeed true." Mu Qing Luan immediately spoke with surprise when she saw the disappearing afterimage and the thunderous roar. "He is just a little thief." Xun'er glanced indifferently at Mu Qing Luan. Her voice carried a thread of iciness. "A little thief will not be able to escape from the hands of the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion's chief, Fei Tian." Mu Qing Luan did not feel the least bit afraid of Xun'er. Instead, she curled her small mouth and laughed softly. Xun'er's eyebrows were bunched up together in the face of Mu Qing Luan's tit-for-tat. However, due to the other party's identity, she could only swing her sleeves and turned her cold gaze towards Xiao Yan on the rock stairs. She said, "In that case, I want to see just how he will bring a person and get through this mouse-tied sound array." Xiao Yan hugged Nalan Yanran's waist in front of everyone's eyes. His body paused in midair as his gaze focused intently on the densely packed gold-swallowing mouse below. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. "You should challenge the formation alone. I am unable to get through this large formation," Nalan Yanran said. Her pale face revealed a bright redness upon having her soft waist hugged by Xiao Yan. "Use your remaining do qi to cover your ears. I said that I will lead you across the formation, and I will do it." Xiao Yan spoke faintly. Nalan Yanran hesitated for a moment when she saw Xiao Yan's insistence. All she could do was nod her head, after which she used her remaining Du Qi to swiftly cover both of her ears. Screech, 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 screech! The countless number of gold-swallowing mice below paused for a moment before suddenly raising their heads. Numerous gazes were locked onto Xiao Yan in the sky. Immediately their teeth-filled mouths were swiftly opened. A sonic wave, even more frightening than the one earlier, was emitted like a thunderbolt. The faces of everyone on the platform changed as they sensed the strength of this sonic wave. Xiao Yan looked at the substance-like sonic wave from the air. His mouth pulsed and his face turned a somewhat flushed red. An instant later, he suddenly opened his mouth. Roar! A thunder like lion and tiger roar suddenly appeared in the sky. Enormous sound waves wrapped around the entire Heaven-Eye Mountain. The shocking roar even contained a strange dragon roar, causing the soul of anyone who heard it to tremble. Their legs also involuntarily shook. The passive face Xun'er displayed changed expressions at this moment while he involuntarily cried out. That kind of sonic wave was not frightening. However, the thing that caused him to be most shocked was that a dragon roar was hidden in the cry. This kind of dragon roar was something that an ordinary Dao skill could not imitate. Only some unique beast which truly possessed the bloodline of a dragon could emit it. However, Xiao Yan was a human. The enormous sonic wave swept around in front of numerous shocked gazes. It violently collided with the sonic wave from the mouse tide, after which a completely one-sided disappearance occurred. What disappeared was the mouse tide sonic wave. Xiao Yan relied on his own strength to destroy the sonic wave formed from a countless number of gold-swallowing mice head-on in this kind of sonic wave face-off. This scene caused those people on the platform and the mountaintop to instantly become stunned. How is this possible? The mouse tide sonic wave that came from all directions completely scattered. Finally, they spread all over the place in a chaotic fashion. In an instant, the forest around the rock stairs suffered. The sonic wave were just like blades which completely cut the many trees right through the middle amid swash-swash sounds. Xiao Yan looked at the mouse-tide sonic wave that faced a total defeat from the sky. He was also a little stunned. His heart clearly understood that the reason he was able to achieve such an effect was likely because of the thread of dragon aura he had obtained from the yin-yang mysterious dragon pill. Otherwise, with just the level of the lion-tiger gold-shattering roar, it was definitely impossible to achieve such a shocking effect, even if it could fight against such a great sonic wave. I have never discovered such a benefit during my fight with humans. This dragon aura seems to pose greater harm to magical beasts. Xiao Yan's gaze swept over the surroundings of the rock stairs. He had begun to tremble upon discovering the countless numbers of gold-swallowing mouse. The fierceness from earlier had completely disappeared. Clearly that roar had caused them significant harm. Xiao Yan hugged Nalan Yanran's narrow waist. He hesitated for a moment before finally moving, after which he rushed to the top of the mountain without any hindrance. Only then did he gently set her down. At this moment, the platform and the mountaintop were completely silent. No one expected that Xiao Yan would choose the fiercest method to break through the checkpoint. Moreover, the thing that really caused everyone to be speechless was that he had actually really managed to successfully destroy that mouse-tide sound array that was formed by a countless number of gold-swallowing mouse. It was likely that very few people present could achieve this. This fellow is indeed an abnormal being. Quite a number of people muttered in their hearts as a strange look appeared in their eyes. Asterisk, cough, asterisk. Beside the rock stairs, Xun'er, who was stunned for a moment, had finally recovered. He looked at the weary gold-swallowing mouse and involuntarily laughed. It was unexpected that this fellow possessed such a technique. Now that he had done this, the strength of the mouse-tide sound array would definitely have been reduced. This will end up giving those after him an advantage. Xun'er sighed helplessly. He waved his hand and said, "The challenge is a success. Next, you have less than half an hour." A human figure hurriedly walked forward upon hearing Xun'er's words. After which, he swiftly walked to the rock stairs,